Hi everyone. In this Sup with SAP video, we are going to work through the transactions that we use for the production process. Let's go ahead and get started. For today's video, we are going to make some finished goods in our production facility in the US, which is Dallas. And in this case, we're going to be making some bicycles. If you've not already watched the previous video, please go ahead and do so. Before you start the production process, you need to make sure that you have the appropriate raw materials and semi-finished goods in inventory in Dallas to make whatever you're going to make. We went through that process in the earlier video, so I'm just going to assume that everyone that's watching this video will have already gotten the ingredients they need for the bicycles we're about to make. And for today's example, we're going to be making 10 black deluxe touring bicycles. The first transaction that we're going to use for producing bicycles is to plan the production order. And the transaction is in logistics, it's in production, and it is in the MRP folder, and specifically it is in planned order. And the transaction code is MD11. The parallel to MD11 would be a sales quotation in the fulfillment transactions or the purchase requisition in the procurement steps. This is something where we're planning on doing something, but we haven't actually committed any resources in terms of money or materials. In terms of our planned order profile, what we're going to use is a stock order, and the abbreviation is LA. That's the only thing you need to do on this first screen, so you can just click the green checkbox. In terms of what you're going to be making, I'm going to be making DXTR1 for black deluxe touring bicycles. And now I'm typing my 3 digits. The planning plant is going to be Dallas. I decided I'm only going to make 10 bicycles. You do need to enter a start or end date for production. I like to enter an end date that's about 2 weeks from now, so that I know I have plenty of time to make these things. And then I like to just click the green checkbox to let the system fill in some other information. You can see that in this case, if I want bicycles done by, this is the 7th of August, 2020, I'll have to open the process on the 2nd and start it on the 3rd. Certainly you could type the start date and let the system work forward instead. Either way will work. You just make sure that you have some end and start dates for this process. At the bottom of this, you can also type the storage location for where you want things to finally go. I'm going to go ahead and type finished goods because I'm making bicycles. You can go through a production process for semi-finished goods like wheel assemblies, and the storage location for them would be SF00 for semi-finished goods. I'm good with all this information. I'm going to go ahead and click Save. This is going to generate a planned order, and I'm going to make sure I write that number down and store it in a notepad file. The second step for production is to go ahead and convert the planned order to an actual production order. This is still in logistics, it's still in production, but we then move to the shop floor control. We go to the order folder and we create an order. And the transaction code here is CO40. So CO, the letter, 40, the number. If you're doing this immediately after your previous transaction, your planned order should be filled in, but if not, you could copy and paste it from your notepad file. In terms of the order type, this is going to be a standard production order, PP01, and that's all you need to enter on this first screen. For the next screen, we really don't need to do anything. We're planning on making 10 bicycles. In this transaction, we are committing to following through with that plan. So we're converting the planned order to an actual production order. We don't change anything. We just go ahead and click the Save button. This generates a production order, which again, I'm going to copy and paste to my notepad file. At this point, the shop floor has agreed to make what we planned earlier. So now we need to actually execute on that production order. The next transaction is going to be a movement of goods from our storage area down to the production floor. And the transaction code we're going to use is MeGo. We've used MeGo in a couple of different situations. For this one, it's going to be a goods issue. We're getting items out of inventory and moving them to someplace else in our facility. And it's going to be specifically for an order. I really wish that this abbreviation was for production order, but the abbreviation is just the word order, and this is when we're making things. And then we need to paste our production order. Now, I had obviously just copied it to my notepad file, so I'm going to paste that number in and click the green checkbox. When you set up a goods issue for an order, the system uses the bill of materials for that semi-finished good or finished good to determine how many of each of the different ingredients you need. So in this case, the system looked at the black deluxe touring bike, looked at its bill of materials, and we know the transaction code for that is CS03, and determined that we need 20 wheel assemblies and 10 of the other raw materials. And you can see that that list matches up with our previous video where we obtained each of these different items. We do need to tell the system where we're going to get these things. Our wheel assemblies are stored in semi-finished goods. Our raw materials are all stored in RM00, and I'm just going to paste all those into my various locations. At this point, if you want to make sure that you have everything, you could click on the check button up top. And if you see green lights next to everything, that means that you have unrestricted inventory available for use in this process. And when you save this transaction, all of those items will leave your storage area and go down to the production floor to be used in the production process. This looks good to me. I'm going to go ahead and click the save button or post, and that will generate a material document. And now I have consumed those goods from my inventory and brought them down to the production floor. One important thing to note about how Global Bike works in SAP is there is no checks and balances for this step. If you forget to issue your raw materials and semi-finished goods for the production process, and you still move forward by making bicycles, there's nothing in the system that will prevent you from doing so, which means you'll have made bicycles without actually using up their ingredients. And we know that's actually not possible. But the system doesn't know that. It's going to assume that somehow you obtained what you needed to make those bicycles, even if it wasn't through a goods issue process. So be careful when you're working through your instructions that you follow through each of these steps and you don't violate the law of nature where you are making something from nothing. Now that we've issued our goods to the shop floor, we're going to expect that the shop floor is going to produce our, in this case, finished goods. What we need to then do is confirm the completion of our production order. This is going to be a transaction that's in Logistics Production Shop Floor folder, but it's going to be under Confirmation, specifically the Enter folder, and we're looking at CO15. We're confirming a production order. We need to paste our production order from our notepad and click the green checkbox. We were asked to make 10 bicycles. We're going to assume that we made everything that we promised. And all we're going to do here is we're going to save. So this is the shop floor jumping into the SAP system and confirming that they made what they said they're going to make. The next step is to receive the items from the shop floor back into inventory. We made 10 bicycles. Now we need to put them away. So this is again a MeGo material transaction. It's a goods receipt, not for a purchase order, but for an order. And I'm going to paste my order number in one more time and click the green checkbox. In this case, we're receiving our black deluxe touring bikes, 10 of them, into the finished goods storage location. And if any of these entries were missing, you could fill them in at this point. I'm going to go ahead and click the Save button. And now I've successfully made 10 Black Deluxe Touring bikes and put them away in our storage area in Dallas. If you want to practice production more thoroughly, my recommendation to you would be to decide on a finished good that you want to make, determine all of the various raw materials that you need for that bicycle, but also all the raw materials you would need for any semi-finished goods like wheel assemblies. Obtain all of the raw materials you need for both semi-finished and finished goods. Make the semi-finished goods like the wheel assemblies, and then go through the second process of making the bicycles. And of course, for the production process, you want to make sure that you follow through with creating a planned order, converting the planned order to an actual production order, issuing the goods for the production order, confirming the production, and then putting away your finished good or semi-finished good that you manufactured. That's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time.